Hello and welcome to another episode of Swim Sets by the Pool. I'm Nathan Cohen, a professional triathlete. I swam one season at Ventura College and it was awesome. It was life-changing, honestly. We swam a bunch, probably 40K a week. It was amazing. I got so much better at swimming. With me is Greg Harper. He swam, I don't know, like D1 in college, but who cares? He went to the Olympic trials. That's what really matters.
Hey, UC Berkeley, I got two national championship rings at home. Thank you, Nathan Adrian, for getting those for us. And yeah, so I'm in the Olympic trials in 2012. I made it in the 200 fly. I raced Michael Phelps in the 200 fly before.
Nice.
And I've been obsessed with swimming since I was 4 years old. And I've been obsessed with the clock, my best friend, for all my years. And that's why I got good at swimming because I spent all the time with my best friend, the clock. And got obsessed with it, and that's how you get fast at swimming.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Greg literally travels with a little digital clock wherever he goes, just in case the pools don't have one.
Got to
He's,
be prepared. I couldn't wear a watch. That's against the religion of swimming. So,
yeah, that's true for sure. Don't wear a watch. You'll be a better swimmer
yeah.
for it. But that's not today's quick tip. Today's quick tip is, especially if you have a deep pool, but you could really do this in any pool. You might just have to sit. Practice blowing all the air out of your nose and just letting your body sink to the bottom of the pool. If you have a deep pool, you could practice pushing off the bottom in like a streamline position, which is where you pinch your head between your arms. It's something that's really fun to practice. I've been teaching that to the kids I teach swim lessons to, and they've been having a really fun time with it. But it's so important because it helps you be aware of how the air in your lungs affects your buoyancy in the water. And flotation is very important for swimming fast.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, it gives that awareness. And also being comfortable with low air is important because there will be times you're in the pool, you're going through a turn, and you want more air, but you just have to stay calm and know that in 3 seconds when you push off to the top, you'll get air, and that's fine because 2 seconds isn't going to make or break anything, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's important, especially in the open water. Rough starts, you get trampled, you might swallow some water. Like you got to be familiar with that kind of depleted oxygen state. Not that we need to hammer it, do it all the time, but just a
Hmm.
little bit familiar. So the race situation that unfolds might not be too daunting for you.
Yeah, Greg, would you say that when people try and hold their breath a little bit more, it actually makes it harder for them to get the air they need when they're swimming?
I,
Because
I don't know exactly what you mean. Like when if they're like kind of rigid in their breath holding
no,
or
like what I mean is like I see people who are swimming and they're uncomfortable blowing air out underwater. They like take a
Mhm.
big breath and then when they lift their head up, they're trying to exhale while their head's out of the water and then
Oh wow,
also
yeah.
inhale. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean that's you can't do that. That's not.
Hmm.
I mean a lot of people have slow breaths and that might be the case. I mean,
Hmm.
you have to forcefully exhale air right before you take a breath. And it's not your whole lungs. Like there's always going to be some air in your lungs. It's not quite, it's different breathing than running and cycling. Maybe where you're taking like, you can take some deeper breaths possibly, but it's that slow trickle maybe that the air that just kind of slowly comes out. And then right before you breathe, it's like a, you're breathing out the air and then getting that fresh air. But that has to be done under the surface. Because outside the surface, yeah, you probably like blow out air, then try to inhale. You might choke. I don't know. That
Hmm.
sounds very difficult.
Yeah, and also the more you blow out air underwater, the more air you can breathe in. Because if you're not
Yeah.
blowing it out, how are you going to fill back up, you know? So,
100%. And that's why it's good to practice that like forceful exhale right before you get the breath because in the end we want to have air in our lungs. So if you're blowing out at a constant rate, you're like sinking in the water. You kind of want to let out a little bit and then blow out a lot right before you fill back up. So you minimize that time spent with less oxygen in your lungs, and that's we've talked about this before. Your lungs are what keep you floating. I mean,
mhm.
that's what goes back to the whole quick tip. You need to understand breathing and floating and body position before you can apply your energy to move yourself. Because, or else you're just fighting the water. And that's what most people do, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason why I gave this as a quick tip, and many of my quick tips are things that actually have fundamentally changed the way I swim, because I didn't swim competitively from the age of 5 years old like Greg did. I didn't swim competitively till I was 19. So for those of you who do triathlon, I wasn't able to swim under 30 minutes for an Olympic distance try, which is 1,500 meters. And I was able to swim after like dedicating a year to swimming under 20 minutes for 1,500 in just like the span of a year of like real dedication to swimming. And one of those things in that year was this breathing, like blowing more air out so I could take a nice quick breath so my head wasn't out of the water for that long and I could put my head right back down in the water. So this is
Nice.
this is why I'm giving this tip to you. It's one of those key fundamental things that help me get a lot faster.
That's great insight. And yeah, it's like so simple, but someone like me who's been around it so long, I can take those things for granted. So it's always good to get someone like yours perspective because we
Mhm.
all have our own biases. That's why together, Nate, we're the perfect team.
We are. Well, we may be the perfect team, but I don't know if we have the perfect set today, Greg. Do you want to
Oh, yikes.
do you want to dive into it?
Yeah. In a little context, I took this picture of the workout. This is in New York. I was a triathlete swimming. Um, nice guy. He had like an all world Ironman cap on, so he's like dedicated Ironman type athlete. Wasn't a super strong swimmer from the looks of it. And then looking at this workout, it's written by a triathlete. I mean, these are just not swim lingo you would hear. It was only 1,300 yards. I think he was racing that week, so maybe it was like a super easy swim, but I don't think I ever, I swam super easy today and I swam 2K because I had to get to 2K. So
Hmm.
it's pretty short. Um, the first set, the first thing is 300 at low aerobic intensity. And then it has a 20 after, which I'm thinking is like the rest.
Yeah, that's probably the rest.
I mean, the whole rest of the entire, it's only 5 sets. So the whole rest of the workout is like a minute and a half. So, I mean, off the bat, like just swim your 300 easy and then however long it takes and then get into it. You don't need an interval. We've talked about that. Low
Hmm.
aerobic intensity. Yeah, I mean, that is what easy swimming is or like warm up, but I've never seen it written like that in a swim workout in my entire life.
Yeah, I would just say 300 easy. And
Yeah.
even like that, I mean, like you can even do like 3 1s or like 650s, you know? I
Hmm.
think a lot of triathletes will see that and they'll just jump in and be like, hey, I'm gonna swim 300 straight, you know? But
Yeah,
we've gone on
totally.
about it a
And
lot. So yeah.
yeah, no, you need to break that up. The standard warm up for us in college was like 444, 333, or 222, which was like a 400, 4 1s, 450s. In the 400, everyone's like swims for a bit. Most people do a 3 to 400, and you kind of break it up. And then we're going into 100s and 50s that have like a little more structure. So, these are some of the best swimmers in the world. No one's getting in and swimming a 300 straight
Hmm.
for the most part.
Dude, before I actually was swimming seriously, I would get in the pool and just swim 1,000 straight. And I thought I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm so hard. Like, I'm so good.
that is hard, dude.
Yeah.
I could never.
Um, but I've come a long way. So, anyways, after
Yeah.
that, it says 8 by 25 drill choice on 10 seconds rest. So, the thing I don't really like about this is you're not swimming after it. You're just doing drill after drill after drill. And the whole point of drill swimming is to isolate a part of your technique that you're trying to improve and then apply it to your swim technique, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're doing like fingertip drag drill, you're trying to create awareness of your fingertip entry into the water, you know, which is super
High
important,
and high elbow.
and high elbow. And if, yeah, you're swimming one arm drill, like kicking on your side, or like every 6 strokes you switch, you're trying to work on that rotation, you know? But if you're just doing the drill and you're not applying it, um, it's not as much bang for your buck, you know? So,
Yeah, and it's so vague. It's like 825's drill of your choice. It doesn't
mhm,
say what stroke, doesn't say do a rotation drill or like do a drill focused on your pull or your catch. And yeah, we need some direction. So I mean, we probably change it 825's drill swim.
mhm.
Maybe do 2 drills at the start and 2 drills, one drill for the first two and then one drill for the next two. Um,
Oh,
And then
actually,
you can
what
kind
do you
of apply that.
yeah, what do you think about 850s, 25 drill, 25 swim?
Yeah, I mean, let's add that because we can give a little more meat to the workout. I
Yeah,
think
for
that's,
sure. Yeah.
um, yeah. I mean, that's still, yeah, it's still a fair amount of drill. Um, but yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Maybe write two of them non-free or something, just so we can mix it up.
Mm,
So like two of the fit, do one little drill swim or two of the 50s drill swim as a non-free, just
hmm.
because there's nothing like that already.
Okay, sounds good.
And
Um,
we'll, yeah, rest 15 or at 20. Don't rush the drills. I think that's the most important part. If you're gonna take time to do the drills, don't rush through them or just don't do them. Like you have to be focused and, you know, intentional, or else there's no point.
yeah, for sure. Um, it's not a race. The drill, it's not about going fast, it's about focusing on your technique. So yeah.
I did race a lot of drills when I was a kid, so I will admit, but
Yeah.
that's okay for
Yeah,
kids.
that's true.
Um,
That's true.
all right, so next part is 4 100s. It says moderate aerobic intensity with smooth stroke. This one's 25 seconds rest. So the rests are coming out of nowhere. They don't
Hmm.
really line up. I mean, 25 seconds rest for hundreds is like an aggressive amount if you're really trying to do a moderate aerobic intensity. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't really make any sense, honestly. Swim with a smooth stroke. What is that? What do you want? Just tell me one thing. Say, keep your head still. Like,
Hmm.
fo we're swimming. Like, it's all technique based. Like, you should be thinking about your stroke. So the whole thing is written terribly, if I'm being honest. It should just say 4 100s, steady, rest 10, and focus on keeping your head still. Like that, if that's what you're trying to get out of it. But just the vagueness and the rest is probably a bit off.
Yeah. So why would you do 10 seconds rest instead of 25?
If you're really trying to get like the aerobic intensity, like keep it moderate, like 10 seconds is enough where your heart rate's not going to come down so much. Like you'll get a little rest and then you can like, you kind of go in a wave, right? So you're kind of pushing it up and it's coming down a bit and then it's going up and it's going a bit. So it's not like this massive, it's more like a steady effort. And we talk about it on the podcast, short intervals with short rest over long intervals, because you can keep that aerobic stimulus kind of going, but then reset your stroke.
Hmm.
So that's how I like to keep things, especially for triathletes. And the guy who was doing this workout didn't have great technique, so he can't go out and do a 400 straight. Like it's not going to work out that well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. And keeping your head steady to build on that a little bit. Um, look straight down. I see a lot of people like with their eyes like close to the surface of the water, just look straight down. There's a black line at
Yeah.
the pool. There should be a T at the end of it. When you get that T, then maybe you can look up so you don't smack face first into the wall. Um, yeah, that's why that black line is down there. That's Greg's second best friend after the clock is the black
Yeah, the
line.
black line. I
Yeah.
will say sometimes it can be dangerous, but yeah. I was swimming today and this girl started giving a lesson. I swam in this pool that I don't normally swim in, and she started giving a lesson to like an 8-year-old girl in the lane. She's like, "You want to share?" I'm like, "Sure." This girl was doing backstroke and just like going across the lane, and I'm coming, but like I'm super aware, so I just go underneath her, like because you know you're at the last second I see right because you're kind of looking at the periphery, but it's like, what are we doing here? Like keep your swimmer in line. Shit.
Yeah.
If this was anyone else, it would have been a head-on collision. But like it's I was there luckily, like not running into her, being super fucking aware like I always am. So
Yeah.
anyway, so ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, it's something like that kind of happened to me. Not with a kid, it was a grown adult. But yeah, he had like full dive fins on, a mask with like a snorkel, and he was like he wasn't really swimming, he was just kind of diving down to the bottom and then intermittently doing like breaststroke kinda, but not really breaststroke. He was just kind of like spreading his arms out as far as he
I've
could.
seen swimmers like that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was swimming like 200s at like 105 per 100 pace, so I was like moving back and forth pretty good. And every once in a while, he would start drifting over, and I'm like, this is just triathlon practice, you know?
Yeah, for
So,
real.
yeah,
Uh,
so keep your head straight down, but also be aware of people getting in your pool.
yeah,
And hopefully
peripheral
they're,
vision.
Yeah, hopefully they're nice enough to like ask to share a lane with you before getting in, because that's the most dangerous, is if someone doesn't ask you and they just hop in unexpectedly.
Yeah, you got to communicate. That's how we all succeed.
Yeah, that's how society stays together is communication.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so we'll do that. 4 100s, steady, 10 seconds rest, and focus on keeping your head still, and that will develop a smoother stroke, hopefully.
Yeah, that it really keeping just focusing on the head might fix some wobbles down the stroke too. Like you might think, oh, I got to work on my hips. Like they go side to side. It's like maybe you just have to keep your head still and that will magically fix your hip. So the head being still is actually a super powerful thing that can fix random things in your stroke that you didn't know need fixing, really. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So the next thing is 2x200s at 70.3 race pace with 30 seconds rest. And then after that, it's just 100 cool down.
There we
Um,
go.
so I'm trying to, you did give some context. They were racing in a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if 400 as 2x200 race pace is great prep to do the week leading into your 70.3. I feel like if you don't have a lot of time, because if this person's not like a super fast swimmer, I was looking up the cutoff time for 70.3, it's an hour and 10 minutes, so that's over 3 minutes per 100. So if someone's close to that 3 minutes per 100 pace, then 2x200 would be a lot for them. But also, if they're swimming that slow, their technique's probably not that good. So I would rather do some 50s
Yeah.
at race pace.
That's true. I mean, it totally depends on the person, I guess, too. And I mean, in the end, they will be swimming 1900 straight
Yeah.
that weekend. So I feel like I don't mind the 200s that well. I mean, you're kind of building up to it a little bit too. I mean, this
Hmm.
is kind of the fastest part of the workout. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, depending on the person, breaking it up is probably a better idea. Maybe like throw in like do it three though, three 200s or like 600 worth of work.
Hmm.
Um,
What do you think about this? Keep the 200s, but do 1 200 at 70.3 race pace, and then 150 faster than 70.3 race pace, then go back to the 200 at 70.3 race pace, and then another 50 faster. Because sometimes when you swim a little bit faster, it kind of
yeah,
helps that more moderate pace. Because the 70.3, it's not like an all-out effort. You're swimming more like
yeah.
moderate. Um,
I like that. I'll give a similar set to people that I coach sometimes, like in a prep swim. I'll be like, maybe you do a 150s or 200s, kind of like race feel, maybe a little bit easier. Then you like do hundreds at kind of race feel. Then you do some 50s a bit faster. So it's like, but I kind of like the way you did it, where you can go back and forth. So then maybe that race pace feels a little more effortless. On the next round. I mean, you're probably not super. I mean, you haven't anything that good of warm up anyway, so like, you might need a little faster swimming. You might be still warming up at this point. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's that's true. But hey, if you don't have a lot of time, this could be like, depending on how fast people are swimming, this could take them half an hour, you know?
True. No, totally. And I mean, this is not a bad set for, I don't know, 2 days before a race, maybe.
Hmm.
Like it's not, it's like a decent distance. I mean, I don't know about doing drills at that point, it doesn't matter. But
Mm.
yeah, but this was on a Monday before like a Saturday race. It seems like more like a 2 or 3 days out type of set.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Okay, so yeah, 250 times three or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's stick with that.
Or maybe
So,
do we go 50 to lead off?
yeah, I
So
think 50 to
or
lead off too would actually
okay.
be good. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
So now we're
three
putting in a little bit more volume in there.
three times 50 faster than race pace, and then 200 at 70.3 pace.
Yeah. And listen, if you're gonna do this set, your 70.3 race pace is not based on your Ironman tracker app pace that they told you went on your like
Really?
this it's a feeling, so like go by effort. And that's how your training should be mostly anyway. I mean, yes, we use the clock to have reference points, but don't think like, oh, well, my if someone was like, what's your 70.3 race pace? I'd be like, I don't know. And if you know yours, like, oh, I do 123s, it's like, change your mindset. That's wrong. You
Hmm.
don't know your 70.3 race pace. Like, you know your effort.
Yeah, and one person who this actually makes me think of a post I saw on Instagram. Simon Shee, he
Hmm.
swam competitively in college and he's a pro triathlete now, does a lot of like Ironman racing, 70.3 racing. He was posting one of his workouts and someone commented, "Oh, that actually couldn't." He's like, "Oh, I'm hoping to swim like 48 for Ironman Canada or something like that." And someone's like, "This actually would be a 45-minute Ironman swim based off of your pool times." And it's like,
Oh,
I was just like, that doesn't
no.
doesn't exactly work like that. And
No,
he's
not at
he's
all.
like, I have pretty good flip turns, and there's absolutely zero of those in an Ironman.
Yeah.
So he kind of understands more that just because
Yeah.
you're swimming a certain time in the pool doesn't mean you're gonna be swimming that time in open water. So yeah.
Yeah. And even the other way around, like there's some, I mean, I've kind of heard like Alistair Brownlee's like really unflashy in the pool. And like looking at his stroke, I wouldn't be surprised if there's guys kind of smoking him. But then he gets in the open water, he's an absolute stud, you know?
Hmm.
Just perfect positioning, always in the front of races, just so efficient for his stroke for open water. So yeah, that's always a nice debate I have with people about what strokes translate or not, and just know that there's differences, and we got to work on minimizing. You struggle in the open water, you want to work on minimizing that struggle through
Hmm.
doing things like I am and all these things we talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So that's your little main set is three times 50 faster than race pace on 10 seconds rest.
Yeah,
20?
maybe do like yeah, 10 seconds after the 50, like 20 after the 200. I think that's
Hmm.
good. You can
Okay.
get a little bit more. We're going fast, so a little more rest is good.
Yeah, yeah. You can feel it out. Um, and then I would do 200 cooldown probably. Just a little bit
Yeah.
more, and throw in some
Well,
backstroke. Backstroke is great to
yeah.
do
It
during
does said
cooldown.
mix in non-free,
It does say mix and non-free, so
which I
backstroke.
find weird because there was no non-free in the whole workout. I mean, like, it should mix an easy backstroke. What, you're mixing butterfly for cooldown? Like,
Heck
first of
yeah.
all, it says C-D. It's not cooldown, it's warm down. This is swimming. This isn't running. So it's warm down is the proper
I think I've been
terminology.
typing cooldown for all of our sets on the podcast so far.
Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. We gotta. All right, let's start over. Let's go back to episode one. We need to
Episode
re-record.
one.
No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
I'm gonna write a note,
So
warm down.
100 warm down. It's a warm up and warm down, and that's how it works in the pool.
Don't know how you
Yeah,
warm
but it,
down.
it says low aerobic intensity makes it non-free. Yeah, that's great. Mixing some backstroke, maybe some easy breaststroke. But if you're not a super strong swimmer and the non-free is hard, you can't really warm down with it, right? Like, oh,
I
I
don't know.
really struggle with breaststroke.
I can swim backstroke pretty slow.
Yeah, but you know how to swim backstroke competently,
Yeah,
right?
I guess.
Um, yeah. So we'll just say 200, 200 easy, do some easy backstroke,
Hmm.
uh, warm down.
Yeah. So this is now, what are we talking?
Close to 2K.
Close to 2K. We added,
We had a 200, 350, 550. Yeah, it's like 19, maybe it's 2050.
yeah,
I think
something
it's
like
just,
that.
I think it's just over 2000. So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
that's, yeah. And this might be a decent like race week swim, right?
Hmm.
You're kind of going mostly easy. You tap in a little bit of like work to kind of keep your body awake, but you're not like stressing yourself too much. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, even yeah, 2 days before, I'd say, would probably be, or three, depending on how much you swim.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this set. This was a whirlwind of fun. Greg has got a hot take to close us out.
Oh
And
yeah, hot take.
thank you. I just want to say thank you for bringing us your sets on the pool deck and stuff. Send them to us on Instagram. We're not trying to roast you or anything. We're really just trying to help you swim better, you know.
Yeah,
We're trying to be like, hey, maybe try this, to swim a little better. Because like the more we help each other out, the better we get at swimming. And that's what we're here for.
Dude, totally. Like we just want people to get better. Like that's all we really care about.
Yeah.
Although we
That
take hot takes.
that being said,
Oh.
Greg roast someone with this hot take right now.
Um, my hot take is the missing part of your swim training and routine is not swim specific strength training.
Mm,
You just need to swim more.
mm.
And that's my hot take. You're not a pool like you're mostly not a pool swimmer. Like you don't need to go to the gym to get stronger for swimming muscles. Like that's just a waste of your time.
All right. Thank you,
So
Greg. We'll see you on the next one.
see you on the next one.